You're getting ready to sell your house, and your agent just walked through with a clipboard and a face that says, "This is going to cost you." Maybe you're not even selling yet, but you know the day is coming. And every room suddenly looks tired in a way it didn't last week. Here's the good news. Most of what actually sells a house faster costs a few $100, not 30 grand. Today, I'm giving you 8 cheap fixes that genuinely move the needle with buyers. And I'll tell you exactly where people waste money doing them wrong. Do me a favor and hit subscribe before we begin, because this channel is all about not lighting your renovation budget on fire. I'm Jerry Davis, and after a couple decades of renovating, flipping, and walking through more open houses than I care to admit, I can tell you buyers decide how they feel about your house in about 90 seconds. Not after the tour. 90 seconds. So everything on this list is aimed at those first impressions and the sneaky little details that buyers use to judge everything else. Stick around to the end, because number 7 is the one almost every seller skips, and it's the one that quietly kills more deals than anything cosmetic. Fix number 1, paint. Yeah, I know, everybody says paint, but here's where people mess up. They grab 5 gallons of the cheapest flat white, roll it over everything in a weekend, and call it done. It seems smart because it's fast and white feels neutral. But builder flat white with no prep looks like exactly what it is: a cover-up. Buyers see roller marks over unpatched nail holes, and they start wondering what else got the quick treatment. Instead, spend 1 full day on prep. Patch the holes, sand the patches, caulk the trim gaps, then use a warm grage or soft white in an eggshell finish for walls and a semi-gloss on trim and doors. And paint the doors. Nobody paints the doors. A crisp white 6-panel door against a fresh wall reads as maintained house. And maintained is the exact word you want, living in a buyer's head. Fix number 2, and this one's outside. The front door and the 10 feet around it. Most sellers throw mulch at the flower beds and think curb appeal is handled. Mulch helps, don't get me wrong, but the buyer stands at your front door for a solid 30 seconds, while the agent fights with the lockbox. That's the longest they'll stare at any single spot in your house. If they're looking at a faded door, tarnished 1994 brass hardware, cobwebs in the corner, and a doorbell hanging by one screw, you've lost points before the door even opens. A quart of exterior paint on the door, a new handle set, new house numbers, a new light fixture, and a decent doormat. That's maybe $250, and it changes the entire opening beat of the showing. Fix number 3, lighting. This one drives me nuts. People will stage the whole house and leave the flush mount dome lights from 30 years ago on every ceiling, with a random mix of bulbs. One's blue-white, one's orange, one's been dead since 2019. Sellers skip it because buyers can change fixtures. Sure they can, but buyers don't do math on what's easy to change. They do vibes. A dim room with mismatched bulbs feels small and dated, even if it's neither. Swap the worst fixtures for simple, modern flush mounts. They're $30 to $60 each, and then put the same bulb in every socket in the house. Warm white, 2,700 to 3,000 K, and go brighter than you think in kitchens and bathrooms. Then, turn every light on for every showing. Every single one. Bright houses feel bigger, cleaner, and more expensive. That's the whole trick. Fix number 4 is the kitchen. And no, I'm not telling you to remodel it. This is where sellers torch money. They panic, drop $15,000 on new counters and appliances, and get maybe 8 of it back. Look, I get it. The kitchen sells the house. But if your cabinet boxes are solid, here's the cheap version. Clean and degrease the cabinet fronts, tighten every hinge so the doors actually line up, and swap the hardware. Modern matte black or brushed nickel pulls, maybe $4 a piece. If the cabinets are dated oak, a proper paint job on the fronts, and I mean deglossed, primed, sprayed, or rolled carefully, not slapped on. Changes the whole kitchen for a few hundred in materials. New hardware on a straightened, freshly painted cabinet reads 90% as good as new cabinets to a buyer walking through, at about 2% of the cost. Fix number 5. Caulk and grout. Now, let's talk about the part most homeowners forget. Buyers walk into your bathroom and their eyes go straight to the line where the tub meets the tile. If that caulk is cracked, peeling, or gone that shade of beige black we all recognize, the buyer's brain says one word: moisture. And moisture means mold, rot, and a lowball offer. People ignore it because it feels tiny. It is tiny. That's the point. Cut out the old caulk with a $5 removal tool, clean the joint, let it dry, and run a fresh bead of mildew-resistant silicone. Scrub the grout, or hit it with a grout pen if it's stained past saving. $20 and an afternoon. And your bathroom stops whispering "water problem" at everyone who walks in. Fix number 6. Declutter, but do it like you mean it. Everybody says clean up before showings, so people shove everything into the closets and the garage. Seems logical. But here's the problem. Buyers open every closet. Every one. It's the first thing they do. Because storage is on every buyer's wish list, and no house ever has enough. When they open a closet and an avalanche of coats and board games stares back, the message is, this house doesn't have enough storage, even if it does. Pull half the stuff out of every closet, cabinet, and pantry. Not organized, out. Rent a small storage unit for 2 months if you have to. It's $100 a month, and it's the best staging money you'll spend. Half-empty closets read as square footage. Full closets read as a problem. Fix number 7. The one I promised you. The little broken stuff. The interior door that doesn't latch. The dripping bathroom faucet. The wobbly ceiling fan. The cracked outlet cover. The burnt-out bulb in the oven hood. Sellers ignore these because individually they're nothing, 5 minutes and $5 each. But buyers extrapolate. Trust me, this matters. When a buyer flips a switch and nothing happens, then tries a door that sticks, then hears a toilet running, they don't think small stuff. They think, if they didn't fix what I can see, what's wrong with what I can't see? And then their inspector shows up, already hunting. Walk your own house with a notepad like you're the pickiest buyer alive. Touch everything, flip everything, open everything. Fix the whole list in 1 weekend. It's the cheapest insurance policy in real estate. Because a house where everything works makes the inspection feel like a formality instead of a negotiation. And fix number 8. Smell and air. And yes, I know some of you are going to disagree and reach for the cinnamon plugins. Please don't. Buyers have been trained by every HGTV episode ever made. Strong air freshener means you're hiding something. Pet odor, smoke, mildew, whatever. The goal isn't good smell, it's no smell. Shampoo the carpets. Or better yet, if there's hardwood under that 20-year-old carpet, pull it and refinish. That's often cheaper than people think, and buyers lose their minds over original hardwood. Wash the dog bed, empty the litter box daily, air the house out an hour before every showing, and change your HVAC filter, which half of you haven't done in a year anyway. Neutral air, warm light, working doors. That's the trifecta of this house was loved. Now, here's a pro tip that ties all 8 together. Before you spend a dime, do the 90-second test. Stand at the curb, walk to the front door, step inside, and stop. Whatever you noticed in that minute and a half, that's your budget priority list. Not the basement, not the guest room nobody enters. The path every buyer takes first. Tell me in the comments which one you were about to skip, because I guarantee at least one of these is sitting on your to-do list right now. And it's probably the caulk. It's always the caulk. Look, selling faster isn't about tricking anyone. It's about removing every little reason for a buyer to hesitate. Because hesitation is where deals go to die. Fresh paint on prepped walls, one great front door, consistent warm light, straight cabinet doors, clean caulk lines, empty-ish closets, everything working, and air that smells like nothing. None of that is glamorous. All of it sells houses. A fast sale isn't luck. It's a house with no red flags left to find. If this saved you from a $15,000 panic remodel, hit like, subscribe, share it with someone who needs to see it. I'll catch you in the next one.